The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Keizer, Oregon, on your new apparatus, job number 30157. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the front bumper, on the right and left side at an angle, you have two electronic sirens. Moving inward from that location on the bumper, there is a mechanical siren. Moving all the way to the driver's side, you have dual air horns. Moving up onto the top, this is going to be your bell, which is controlled by a pull cord which runs through the face of the apparatus. Moving to the center, you'll find a tub for hose storage, which is covered. Moving up onto the top of the body, on the right and left, you'll find turn indicator arrows. Moving just inward, this is your headlight cluster. There is an outer low beam and the inner high beam. Moving up onto the top, just above the headlight cluster, these are your two warning lights forward facing. Moving all the way to the right and left, you have a convex and flat mirror. Moving just down back on to the windshield area, there are two windshield wipers on your seamless windshield. And at the very top on the brow, there are 5 running lights. Moving up just above that in the center, there is a center forward-facing floodlight. Moving up from that location, you're going to have a light bar. Let's go ahead and go back down to the bumper with a couple close-ups. Just on the side of the bumper on the actual body, there is a warning light in addition with a scene light. Let's go ahead and look underneath the front bumper. At the very front, there are 2 closed attachment hooks. These are chrome. Moving back further than that, you'll find 2 additional attachment hooks. These are also closed. On the very left-hand side, or driver's side, you'll find your 12-volt access point. Moving up to the very top, you'll find your go lights. There is one on the passenger side and also on the driver's side. And mounted in the center of your light bar, an opticom. Looking down inside, this is that tubbed area with an 1.5 inch discharge port. On the side of the apparatus, over the passenger and driver door, you'll find an additional side-facing floodlight. Generalized view of your apparatus. Let's go ahead and look underneath at all access points for personnel. You'll find perimeter lighting. These are your Goodyear tires. In the center, you'll find your Stemco hub. This is a visual indicator to inspect for fluid in the hub. Let's go ahead and move back up to the body. This is where you're going to find your shore power inlet. Moving just forward of that toward the front of the cab, this is your auto eject for air. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components on the cab. There are 4 keyed door locks on your cab. Moving back just to the rear of that, this is an emergency light. As we move up from this location all the way to the top, you'll find your water tank level indicator from green to flashing red. Generalized view of the side of your apparatus. Let's talk a little bit about some of the components midship. As we take a look at the pump panel area, there is a step located just at the very bottom section here. This is a fold-out style step. Release the black mechanism here, which will releases the step to unfold outward. Once it's folded outward, you'll gain full access to the step. Let's go ahead and now take a look at the pump panel. As we look forward of that, you're going to find in the very upper corner, this is your large diameter intake. Moving just to the right of that, a warning level regarding looking into that section while under pressure. Moving to the right of that, you're going to find a discharge port. It is color coded in gray. The lever is next to it, and so is the gauge. Moving down from that location, you'll find an additional discharge port. It is a 2.5 inch. They are both the same. Moving to the right, this is your foam capabilities for drafting foam and releasing foam. Down at the very bottom, you'll find these style levers, which are drains. This is going to be your draft for foam, in addition with the foam tank in itself. That is a coupling on the outside. These are generalized view. All the drain valves look similar to this. They are independently marked. Looking just above that section where the midship pump section was, you'll find additional hose storage. The very first section of hose storage, this is going to be a load that can be removed. This is your number 1 crosslay. Moving across, you have a number 2 crosslay and a number 3 crosslay. These are all color-coded crosslays. As you can see, white, yellow, and red. They correspond with the valve and the gauge. And on the very far right, because there is hose involved, there could be a possibility of entanglement and a warning label for that. Located in the very center, this is going to be the mechanism when it is lifted up to remove your speed loads. Just up from that location, you have an additional storage location here. The strap is removable. And just above that, you'll find an additional warning light. To the right of that, you'll find a side-facing scene light. There's one in the front and also one in the rear. And at the very far back, an additional warning light. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components with inside this compartment. This is a roll-up compartment which houses your pump accessories. Let's go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner of your pump. And as we start in the upper left-hand corner, we'll move to the very center. At the very top, there is an indicator. This is a pump engaged indicator. When the pump is properly engaged, it illuminates the light underneath it. On the left, this is going to be your PSIs for 150, 200, and 250. This is also going to be a foam A tank indicator. Moving to the right of that is your master intake. To the right of that, you'll find 2 ports. This is your vacuum port and pressure test ports. Moving to the right, you're going to find your master discharge. All the way to the very top, you'll find this indicator. This is an amber light. This is a PCM fault indicator. Just beneath that, you'll find an audible alarm. And beneath that, you'll find another indicator or warning regarding your fan cooling system. Let's go ahead and take a look at the components just underneath this area. This is that scheduled maintenance. This is for 150, 200, and 250, the associated GPMs and RPMs for that. As you look, you can see the PCM fault on the right and also the cooling fan air. Let's go ahead and take a look at the discharge valves from this point. Moving from left to right, you can see they are all color-coded in addition with locking valves. All of these have the capability of displaying or pumping foam. To the right-hand side, this is going to be your Pierce throttle control. In the very top corner, there's a check engine. On the very far side, there is a stop engine. This also gives water indication. You can move through your menu, and also in the very bottom is the throttle. Let's go ahead and move to the very far right. This is going to be for your light that is mounted on top, which is a tower style light. This will be the control for your master stream. Just down from that, you'll find some switches located here, and I'll talk a little bit about those in the next set of images where I have some close-ups. This is going to be your TFT monitor operation station. There is also one directly on top at the monitor. These are going to be your driver's side scene lights, passenger side scene, and also future switches. Down at the very bottom, this is your cab lift. Ensure that all things are secured and read the instructions for lifting the cab. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of those things that are mounted on your gauges here. These are electronic gauges from Akron. We'll move across. These are discharge, and this is an inlet. We'll go ahead and have a couple close-ups of these, but let's talk about the next set of gauges. Primer rear intake and primer for your fire pump. The electronic valve to the left of that was the rear intake. Moving up to the down to the bottom here, this is going to be your tank to pump. Moving next to it is the tank fill and recirculating line. They are also levers and have locking capability. Let's go ahead and move to the very far right. This is not a push or pull. This is a turn. This is your real blowout. And also at the very bottom, this is your master stream or deluge discharge. It is also a locking gauge. There's also in the next panel down information on your Husky 3 foam system. Moving to the right of that, these are once again turnstile drains. And at the very bottom section, you'll find additional valves for drains. But let's talk a little bit about what's behind the compartment access door located at the very top. As you open this access door, you'll find your primer drain also here. This is a turn, not a pull or push. As we open the access door, this is going to be your foam valve handle, horizontal for foam operations. To fill, move the handle in a vertical or foam filling position. After filling, restore the handle back to its original horizontal position. Also located in this compartment is going to be your manual pump shift lever. You can see that this is the override for your pump shift. It is a covered switch so that you intentionally have to activate it for its protection, and there is also an amber warning light next to it. Let's go ahead and take a look just as a generalized view of the compartment just to the next of that. Same compartment roll-up door. There are a variety of different adjustable shelves, but at the very bottom there is a pull-out shelf. To pull this shelf out, simply depress the black lever located on the set of wheels here or the track. Once it's depressed, it'll allow the shelf to move completely out. To restore the shelf back, push that same latch will allow the shelf to move back to its normal position. In the lower compartment, you're going to find shore outlet power here. Generalized view of the side of their apparatus. Let's talk about the two compartments just in front of the rear tire, and this compartment here houses your SCBA storage or bottle storage. Just to the rear of that, this is going to be the fill location for your DEF and also your fill for fuel. The blue cap is your DEF and the silver cap is diesel fuel. Let's take a look at what's inside the compartment. As we raise this roll-up door, you'll find additional adjustable shelves. They're currently in a fixed position, although they are adjustable. Let's move to the very rear compartment, and just beneath that, you'll find two things. One, there is a set of folding wheel chocks, and then there is also a drain lever located on the left-hand side. This is going to be your rear inlet air bleed. And as we look up into the compartment itself, you can see there are two adjustable shelves in the top section, and in the very bottom section, a pull-out shelf. Same concept to make that shelf pull out with the lever. Also located in this compartment, you're going to find an additional shore outlet. Let's go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus. As we look to the rear of the apparatus, let's talk a little bit on the left-hand side. You'll find a set of reverse, turn, and brake lights, and just inside of that, a warning light. You'll also find work lights, and in the very back here in black, you'll find a large diameter intake. This is going to be your hose bed lights and rear scene lights. These are the controls for those. Moving just up from that location in this compartment will be the access for your ground ladders. And just up from this, you'll find long tool storage. Let's go ahead and take a look inside those compartments. In this compartment, you have a 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof. Moving up from that location to the next smaller compartment at the very top, you'll find your 10-foot attic or folding ladder, in addition with two available spots for long storage. This is the center compartment, which houses your red line or booster line. There is a reel rewind, in addition with just below that a slotted valve here or lever to manually roll. At the top section here, traffic advisor. Just beneath the traffic advisor, you'll find your backup camera. Also in this area, you'll find a variety of different warning labels. Please take a look at those warning labels and heed the information. As you look on the right-hand side, you'll find your ladder. There is a pinch hazard with this ladder. Be cautious of that and see those warning labels once again. Generalized view of those traffic advisors and also your backup camera. Let's take a look at the top of your hose bed. You have an adjustable two-section here hose bed. Moving from the side, you have an additional emergency and warning lights at the very top and also floodlights at the back. This is going to be the mechanism. There is one on the right and left-hand side of the ladder Depress both of these, which will allow you to pull the ladder to the outward position. Once it's in the outward position, there are two levers which will allow it to lower to its full extension length. You can see the lever on the right here. That lever is depressed, allowing the ladder to slide in its downward position. Once the ladder is fully capable of climbing, you'll also find additional grab rails at the very top. Once you're at the top of the ladder, you'll also find some step lights here for visualization while climbing that ladder. Let's go ahead and look underneath the apparatus. You can see that there are perimeter lights in addition with a center mounted attachment point. Generalized view of the side of the apparatus. This is the side of the apparatus with the compartment door open. As you can see, looking into this rear compartment, there are two adjustable shelves on the top, a pull-out shelf in the bottom, and there is also a shore power plug just on the inside of that bottom shelf. Let's go ahead and move to the side of the apparatus where the rear tires are located. Similar configuration on the layout, although there is no diesel or DEF. In this compartment, you'll find bottle storage. It also has safety tethers. Moving just to the front position of that, there is additional bottle storage here. Let's go ahead and take a look up at the top of this roll-up compartment and discover what's behind this compartment. As we look inside this compartment, you'll find a tool board mounted here. Has the ability to be in the open position. Simply turn the quarter turn latch here. Once it is opened, the tool board will open toward the front of the apparatus and will then lock in a locking position. To restore that back, there is a pin located here. All you have to do is lift that small pin to release the mechanism. Once the mechanism has been released, then it will go ahead and close back and lock back in its original position. That tool board can have tools on the front and the back, and it's also adjustable. Let's go ahead and take a look at exhaust. There is a warning label on the exhaust due to temperature. Please be cautious in where you park your apparatus. Looking in this compartment, you have an adjustable shelf that comes out and drops down. Just beneath that, you can see that there is an additional pull-out shelf on this side, where a gray latch is on the right-hand side for allowing that to be pulled out. The very lower shelf has the guides on the very bottom, and it has a similar mechanism as the other pull-out shelves. In this compartment, also in the very lower section, you'll find an additional shore power outlet in this compartment on the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and move to this compartment. This is that pass-through compartment, just the same as the opposite side. This houses the hose in addition with top storage up above. These are the pull-outs, so you can load the hose and then pre-install them back into the apparatus. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the pump panel here. Very basic. You have a large diameter intake, two 2.5 inch discharge, in addition with a large diameter discharge. Also, there are cutouts here because of the electric valves. You can see the tool location for inserting those electric valves. This is going to be an offside, which is the passenger side, discharge 2.5 inch. This is once again a large diameter discharge, and you can see on the left there are two holes there. Those are to access the overrides for those two electronic valves. Up to the right, this is your large diameter intake, in addition with a warning label in this area regarding visualization into that area. Down at the very bottom, you're going to find those same style levers for discharges. They are color coded, as you can see here in purple, and at the very bottom there are a set of 4, which is your pump drain and various different types of drains. On the right hand side, this is your auxiliary inlet on the passenger side. It is a 2.5. There is also one on the opposite side, which is also 2.5. At every entry point of all doors of this apparatus for personnel, you'll find attention to seatbelt details. Seatbelts on Pierce apparatus are all red for visualized capabilities for everyone in the cab. Looking at the passenger side door here, you'll see the cord that is for your bell that's located in the front. Let's go ahead and start off in the driver or operator position. You'll find that seatbelt location here. In addition, with these doors have been suited with additional warning lights on the sides for when the door is in the open position. Let's go ahead and look inside the cab. As we look inside, I want to point out two labels. One, this yellow label, in addition with a yellow and also a orange label for warning and hazard. We'll have a couple close-ups of those in the next set of images, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components with inside the area of the operator. Starting on the left-hand side, there are these ports. They're in gray and also in green. These are ports for command zone, also for transmission and ABS, in addition with engine information diagnostic ports. At the very top, this is your seatbelt alarm, and at the very bottom, your engine regen information. Let's go ahead and move up from that location. You'll find this red quarter turn. This is the master battery switch, which engages all of your battery for this apparatus. On the left, this is an OK for high idle to engage, and its switch. To the right, this is your maxi brake system. Pull to apply the parking system brake, push to release. And just beneath that, this is your Allison transmission pad for switching transmission gears. Let's go ahead and look to the right-hand side. This is going to be a warning label or caution label regarding your engine brake, but let's break down some of the components here. Generalized view, this is the very center console, which is accessible to the operator. Starting on the steering column, you have a left and right turn, in addition with flash. Moving forward of that location, this is going to be a push, pull for tilting and telescoping of your steering wheel column. Left-hand side, you have mirror control. And moving just in from that location, this is your start ignition. And just above that is the start switch. And moving up to the very top in red, this is your hazard lights for your vehicle. Moving just inside of that, the small cluster, you'll find the small switch that says EM on it. That is your emergency master switch. It push on, push off for all emergency lights. Just inside of that, this is your headlight, parking lights, and also headlights. And just in from that location, this is the panel rocker switch for dimming and brightening the panel lights on your dash gauge. Variety of different components located here. They are all individually labeled from your transmission, DEF, air, speedometer, and tach. They're all located on this dash. To the right, once again, this is in the very right-hand side about knee level for the operator. This is the placard from Pierce. It offers the date of manufacture and job number, in addition with gross vehicle weight ratings, and at the very bottom, the VIN. The VIN number is also located on the driver's side A-pillar. And at the very bottom, this is all the fluid capacities that this vehicle will need, the amounts and types. Let's go ahead and take a look at the generalized view here. This is that center section here. Let's start at the very top section with the engine brake on-off switch. There is also a selector for low, medium, or high. There is an indicator light for stationary, OK to pump and roll. This is your water pump and foam system switch. Down from that location, you'll find your climate control. Just beneath climate control, you'll find your off-road traction device switch and your mirror heat and additional future switches. Pump pressure digital readout, in addition with a water tank indicator for the amount of water left in your tank while pumping and rolling. At the very top, this lever over the operator's head, we'll talk a little bit about that, but I just want to make general sense of where it's at. Let's move across this area here. This is your emergency master, your roof, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. The yellow placard is the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. They are associated links and weights located on this in addition with your job number, I should say. Just underneath that location, these are the two top mounted. This controls the driver's side. This is the go light, which is an independent spotlight. Moving over in the very top section is your Opticom, a blank switch, siren brake, and your load manager. Moving just right of that location, you'll find your front scene, driver's side, passenger side scene, rear scene, a blank for a future switch if you choose to install, in addition with a light switch here for your perimeter lights. Moving just to the right of that location, this is your Firecom general control system for your headsets. Moving down from that, you'll find your electronic siren and PA controls. Moving down from that is going to be your traffic advisor to the rear, and the two ropes or strings on the top, those control your air horn. Just behind the passenger seat, you'll find your 12-volt charger. This is going to be a Shure outlet, and it's a 20 amp plug directly behind the passenger seat. In between the passenger and driver, you'll find this nice set of area here for collection of equipment and map books. This is a locking compartment. Overhead, you'll find your headsets in addition with air and additional warning labels. Let's down look at the driver's side rear section. This is the access door to gain access without having to tilt the cab to check your oil and transmission. This compartment is illuminated. Generalized view of the rear of the apparatus. In the rear of this apparatus, all of the seats are equipped with SCBAs. This is the fold down seat in the rear. It is exactly the same as the opposite side and also to the front. Let's go ahead and take a look at the center console. This is an additional roll-up door located between the passengers sections. Inside there is illumination in addition with 2 adjustable shelves, and at the very top you have Shoreline output power in addition with 12 volt. That is the block access here on the left-hand side that has the protective cover on it. It also has a piece of plastic on it so it doesn't scratch, but that's what's behind that is 12 volt access. Generalized view into the passenger side of the vehicle. Let's talk a little bit about some of the components here. The rope coming up and out of the floorboard, this is going to be for your bell on the front of the apparatus, and this is an important. This will illuminate if you have any compartment door ajar. Do not move the apparatus if this is flashing. Let's go ahead and take a look. Passenger side over the head, you'll find your go light, independent spotlight, on-off switch, and control. Just over the head also is your emergency master, a siren brake, future, front scene, driver side scene, and passenger side scene. Let's go ahead and take, this is going to be an image of your front mirror, driver side, flat, and convex on the bottom. This is an entirely closed hose bed, hard cover. To move that, simply move the latch just as you would any of the other roll-up doors. The hose bed is illuminated. There are various lights throughout, in addition with the compartments on the right and left-hand side also have illumination with inside of those. Let's go ahead and move just forward of the hose bed into the center area. This is going to be your foam A tank, which has a latch on it, and also your water tank, which does not have a latch on it. There is a work light in this area. Moving just forward of that, this is going to be the master stream device with the control on the left-hand side and a matching control on the bottom. This is a center area for your radiator, and you'll see just in front of that there are some access holes here, or access spots. This is going to be your coolant level in addition with storage. Moving just left of that, you're going to find 2 additional access points here. As you lift the lever in this area, you'll find your pressurized do not open. This is your coolant cap. On the left-hand side here, you'll find additional hydraulic lines here for your ATF. As we move to the very front section of your apparatus on the roof, this is going to be your night scan, and the control was located in the first compartment on the driver's side. Congratulations, Keizer Oregon, on your new apparatus, job number 30157. If you have any questions regarding the content of this video or any questions regarding your apparatus, contact Hughes Fire Salesman. Thank you and have a great day.